Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Afternoon, Cam. Talk about the big shirt. Talk about the run game and the play calling and all this. How do you feel unfairly criticized?
Absolutely,
Do you feel like it's...
absolutely not. And I think I can. Because obviously we got a game coming up. We got to move on to. However,
Right.
there's nothing that's been said that I wouldn't have already said. You just didn't get to me first. And I mean that sincerely. I would have said all that before anybody else could have said it, and that's the bottom line.
So what is the solution here? I'm not asking a game plan. I'm not asking what you're going to do. But what is
Understood.
the solution to the whole thing? Does it come down to strictly execution? Does it come down to changing,
Yeah,
reducing?
I think that's the important word, but I think it's coaching execution. It's our players have all said to me, and we've had. I think you know the kind of group we've got here. First thing they say, because we look at the tape critically, is we got to execute better. Well, when you have to execute better, that's not players just executing better. That's coaching better, and coaching guys to execute better. I mean, that's the way this thing works. We take a ton of pride here in our ability as coaches to get the most out of every guy, whether he's a rookie, like you've seen with Joe, Ray, Michael, all these young, all the way to the guys who are 13, 14, 15-year guys at the end, at the back end of their career. We take a lot of pride in getting the most out of these guys. And for whatever reason right now, it's not where we want it to be. There's glimpses of it, which leads to we're too inconsistent. And you can't flash and be inconsistent and think you're going to score points. Because that, to me, that's the only stat that ultimately matters. Obviously, we got to take care of the ball, and we'll be solid in that area. But you got to find ways to score points. At the same time, not turn it over. The running game is several things that we've had the ability to address this week. And if you ask any of our guys, they'll all say that they're all a part of it. There's nobody pointing the fingers at anybody. We're all a part. The guy calling the plays, down to the guy that runs the ball, to the people that block for him. Plain and simple. I guess the good news is that was a heck of a blow the other night. I get that, but it wasn't a fatal blow.
Cam.
That is what's important, and I mean that sincerely. We've got now it's December. Now we're in the fourth quarter of the season, and I'm speaking offensively. For us to play the way we're capable of playing, and I'm confident with the guys that we have and the staff that we have that we can get that done. And Monday night will be a challenge. You can say, well, this is a good Houston team. Their defense is getting knocked because of their rankings, but look at the offenses they play. And this is a good team we're going against, and it's going to be a heck of a challenge for our offense.
A couple questions, Cam. The 2nd and 5 play, just in terms of when Harrison slides down, was that what caused the thing with Polo?
No, that was, and you're looking at the guy responsible. There was a flaw in that protection. We don't have a protection where 43 comes unblocked. We don't have a run play where 43 comes unblocked in that game. There are some cases where guys can be unblocked, not him. And there was a flaw there that I did not catch for some reason. And in 25 plus years, that I've never seen that happen. And it showed up at the worst time it possibly could have. And it's my job to catch that flaw, and that flaw has been corrected. Now, there's something that may get us, but it ain't getting us from that side. It ain't getting us from the quarterback's backside. If it gets us, next time you see a guy unblocked in that protection, it'll be where the quarterback's expecting it to be unblocked.
John mentioned that you would cut
belabor the
down.
point, though.
I don't think we're done here.
Yeah, just want to follow up.
That's okay. I'll be right back.
Just to follow up, with you talked about finger pointing. I guess goes with the territory. A lot of finger pointing at you this week. How do you handle that, and how has that been for you this week? Do you just kind of make yourself immune for it and put your head down and go back to work?
Let me tell you, it didn't. When that game was over, I'm not naive. I knew exactly what happened, and I knew why it happened. And no one wants to hear any excuses of why it happened. I know where the accountability lies on what happened. And the one thing, I've just been in it too long. It's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to get it fixed too. And that's the good news. I know how to get it fixed. That's the important thing. You're in this business long enough, you're going to get hit in the teeth every now and then. It's just you look at dead in the eye and you get it fixed. And I think the important thing is to know that again wasn't a fatal blow for this team. It's not. I'm not going to let it be a fatal blow for this offense. It ain't going to happen. Not as long as I'm here.
Not to belabor the point.
And that's don't worry about that.
All right. when you're going through that and you're taking the blame, you're on the sidelines. Someone's looking up from the sky, communicating, I would assume, with you. Why wasn't there recognition from that angle? In other words, from someone in the press box, one of your assistants.
You don't need somebody from the press box to see that angle. Been doing this too long. You know, I'm really there's the point. You get to the point where you can see all 22 guys at the same time. I know it's hard for you to really believe that, but you do, and you see something unfolding, and then all of a sudden it happens. You know exactly what happened. The minute it happened, I knew what happened, and I knew why it happened. Period. And point the finger. You know, we got to move on, and I know it's hard for everybody. Everybody else can do what they want. We have to move on because we've got a group of guys that have to go play Monday night. But until we do something differently, it's going to be hard to get through that one for some people. And I understand that.
Is one of the solutions, John had mentioned on his radio show that you all had talked about paring down some of the schemes a little bit. Could that have been part of some problems you've had? And is that a solution?
It can be. It hasn't been. But you never, this time of year, you can't afford to be carrying anything that you don't need in your offense. You have an extensive package, an extensive system that you feel good about, that you've run for years, but the players have to learn it, and you got to trim it down toward the end of the year. We'd be doing that anyway. Right. But we all know the other side of that. All right, now you become predictable. You become, and I'm okay with that. The old conservative, predictable. That's I don't worry about that because I understand, and I think our players and our coaches definitely understand the simplest, most predictable play executed looks unpredictable and imaginative. I watched the game last night, and there's another team that's taking the same philosophy, just simplified some things, and all of a sudden they looked imaginative, and they were running the same plays that they've always run. So it comes down to execution. We all understand that. We're just the men for the job, and we're going to do everything we can to get it solved and get this thing offensively where it needs to be. And I understand the expectations, but I can remind you on this too, about those expectations. Nobody's expectations are higher than ours as coaches and as players. We understand the expectation, but our expectations are even higher.
Cam, what was the thinking regarding the throwing at that stage on the second five? Was it just something?
I think football is way beyond running and throwing. Mm-hmm. Let's say it like it is. It's executing the run, executing the pass. This is 2010. It's that's just the way it is. You call a run, you execute it. You call a pass, you execute it, and you try to keep people. Sounds like they were expecting a run there. Next thing you know, hey, all of a sudden you execute it and the game's over, potentially. So it's about execution, and that's the thing we have to remember, because we all know what happens if that's a 5-yard loss on a run. And so I don't worry about that. All right, I don't worry about that. I got tremendous. This is probably where we can move on. This is the last one. The confidence I have, starting with Joe, all the way through this offense, ain't changing. And you can look at it however you want to look at it. When we come off that field, we're going to give our players a chance to have won the game for us. And I trust these guys. Didn't work out the other night, but it's going to work out a lot more than it isn't.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you.